All right. We are back. We are back. Welcome back. How's everyone doing? Yeah, I'm gonna change some stuff around eventually. Spice things up. The music. Mr. Consistent. That's what I like. Bonadia. Good morning, good morning. How we doing? Welcome back. Long weekend. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Weekend was good. Spent some time with the fam. Back in Naples. Father's Day. But happy to be back here. Naples is like a dead zone, man. There's nothing going on there. It feels empty when I go back. It feels so slow. So when I realized in Naples you need a boat. That's what I realized this trip. I realized that you need a boat. You need to be on the water in Naples. Without having access to the water, there is little to nothing to do. Little to nothing for you to do in Naples. Besides go to restaurants, really. I'll be back, though. Long term, that's a beautiful place to live. But right now, at my age, it's rough. It's not many young people there. Good morning, guys. Morning. Yeah, yeah, you could golf. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that, D-Mill. Definitely golf. Golf and boats. Golf and boats. Yeah, I know buying a boat's not a good idea. I know that. I know it's a money pit, that's for sure. Maybe just a boat, maybe having like a boat rental, like being part of a membership. That's probably the way to go. All right. Lived in Bonita Springs? Yeah. Yeah, Judge Judy lives in Naples. Yeah. There's a lot of beautiful houses there. Port Royal? Definitely. Boats and hoes. That's right. Welcome back, guys. If you're just jumping in, hope you guys had a good weekend. Boat break out another 1,000. Yeah, pretty much. A friend with a boat. Exactly, Michael. Exactly. A canoe. All right. Yeah, I'm in Miami. That's where I'm at now. I liked Orlando in college, but I don't like how Orlando's landlocked. It's nice to live by the water, in my opinion. If you're going to be in Florida, you might as well be on one of the coasts, in my opinion. But Orlando is nice. Orlando was fun for college. I went to UCF, so go Knights. Some fun things to do there for sure, but it sucks when you have to drive like 45 minutes to get to the water. It's nice to be able to live near it, in my opinion. Florida's such a skinny. I mean, it's not that skinny. It's like I don't know, maybe. Yeah, it's like 2.5 hours coast to coast. So to be able to, if you're gonna live in Florida, you might as well be on one of the coasts, in my opinion. Okay. Happiest day in someone's life, the day you buy a boat and the day you sell a boat. Yeah, I agree with that. I had a jet ski for like a year, and I was dying to get rid of it by the time that I was done with that little moment in my life. It was fun for the time being, but it sucked after a while. Just a pain in the ass. You have to have a slip. You got to have a slip. You got to be able to just drive to the slip or go to the back of your house, really. That's really the key. All right. Good morning, guys. Let's get started. Welcome back. 8:05. Here we go. Let's do it. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. All right. So, June 20th. Crazy, man. June 20th already. Make sure you guys pay your quarterly tax payments if you own a business. I forgot about that, and I paid it 2 days late, so hopefully I don't get penalized for that. But quarterly tax payments are due, so don't forget about that. Morning, sir. Shot you an email. You got it, Dre. I'll take a look. Sorry about that, man. Yeah, sometimes I get backed up on emails, just to let you guys know. So if you're waiting on a response for an email, trust me, I'm not ignoring you. I will get back to your emails. There's a lot. It's a lot for a one-man show. So just know that. I will get back to you, but I'll take a look. Dre, thank you for the $20 donation. New donation. All right. So, futures, as always, economic earnings calendar. Let's go ahead and take a look at that earnings or that economic calendar this week. Nothing much, really. Tomorrow is an interesting day. You have Fed Chair Jerome Powell testifying to the House. So that might do a little dance for the market. We'll see. 10 a.m. We'll see if there's any movement there. But today, housing starts at 8:30. Nothing really there. Fed President John Williams speaking, really nothing. Jerome Powell tomorrow at 10 may have a little bit of movement. Jobless claims on Thursday, home sales on Thursday. You can see Jerome Powell testifying to the Senate on Thursday. So you have House testimony, Senate testimony on Wednesday, Thursday. So we'll keep an eye on that 10 o'clock hour. If you guys are trading, just be careful of that 10 o'clock hour, both tomorrow and Thursday. And then Friday, services PMI, manufacturing PMI. So nothing crazy, nothing wild. I would say the 10 o'clock hour is just something to watch this week, right? The 10 o'clock hour on Wednesday, the 10 o'clock hour on Thursday. I would just be a little bit cautious if you are in a position at 10 o'clock on tomorrow and Thursday, all right? That's really the only things I see that are major here. Just be careful of any volatility around that time. All right. Earnings calendar. FedEx is really the only thing on there. FedEx tomorrow. After close today. So I'll go ahead and pull that up real quick. Here it is. FedEx after close today is probably about the only thing I see here. The only one that's really that big. CarMax is sort of interesting for the used car sector. Used car sort of see how everything's going with the used car market. But FedEx is really the one. Keep an eye on that one today. That's about it. All right. Besides that, Tesla, strong hold this morning of demand. I'll go ahead and break down Tesla as always. Nvidia 420, key level as well that we held, channel low that we held this morning. AMD, very weak on Friday. And coming down into a very interesting level here, AMD. Channel low, 116, hourly demand low. Could be interesting. We'll see if the market can, obviously it's going to depend on the market because the market is losing a little bit of strength in the pre-market. But if the market does find a way to recover in some regard, this AMD channel low is definitely something I'm watching this week. Microsoft and Meta are on two very interesting retests, so I want to point those out. Shopify got an upgrade this morning to $80 and is holding 64 very well. And then Snow 185 level, a very key 185 level that I want to watch here this morning. All right. So some key holds. Am I being banned? Margin call. I mean, man, there's 1,200 people in here. I can't answer every question that's in the chat. So it's not all about you, man. I'm sorry. You're not being banned. I don't get to every message that's in this chat. So I apologize for that. So those are the things we're going to look at. Those are the setups we are going to look at today. They're pretty interesting. I do like some of these for a watch. I like Meta, Microsoft, AMD the best. And then Shopify and Snow are also sort of on that list. But let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and take a look at the futures. Take a look at what we need to watch today. So, yes, this is a pullback, right? This is a pullback, but is it breaking anything major? That's the first thing that I have to keep in mind today, right? Are we breaking anything major yet? I don't think so, at least not yet. There are some key breaks that we did get overnight and on Friday that are leading to this downside. So here's where it all started, right? This is where all the downside sort of came in and really started here on the Nasdaq. It was right here on Friday afternoon when we broke below the pre-market lows and the intraday lows and this little Thursday high around 15,320. All right, so that's where this really started. So if I zoom in here, we can get a little bit of a better look here. Where this downside really began on the Nasdaq and on the market in general was the break right here. All right, so on Friday, I was in some swing trades for over the weekend, but my stop loss was if the market breaks below this pre-market low, right? I wanted to see the market stay above this pre-market low to hold positions long over the weekend. Now, a little bit, towards the end of day on Friday, we broke that level and I stopped out of those swing trades for a small loss. That was what I wanted to see hold up. This was the hold that I wanted to see for more upside, and we did not get that. So that's where the thing sort of flipped, right? That's where this sort of flipped, this market, is right here after breaking this 15,320 on the Nasdaq. Now, since that point, right, we rejected it. We sort of slid lower, and we actually broke below this little low here, or this previous high right here as well. So you have this high here. You have this little consolidation here. You have some very clear rejections here at 15,250 on the Nasdaq this morning. And right now, you are coming up to test it. All right, so 15,250 on the Nasdaq, I think it's not a perfect level. It's a little bit like a zone here. It's around, I would say, anywhere between this 240 and 250, and you are pushing into it as we speak. So if you can regain this level today, right, if you can regain this 250 level, you might be able to trade back into that 320. I think that's possible. But the key upside level, the key level that we're going to have to get back over before this market really finds any legit strength, we need to get back over this 320. This is now sort of that level that needs to be watched for potential rejections, because this is a very clear as day, pre-market low into an intraday rejection right here. This right here needs to be watched. You can see it right here. Pre-market low into an intraday rejection. That is very key. And until we are above that, right, until we are above that 320, until we do something like this, I'm a little bit cautious on playing this back to the upside. So that's in my mind right now. If I zoom out here, your next demand steps in around this 15,150. This is a previous high from Tuesday. This is a pre-market high from Wednesday. And this is a little demand hold here on Thursday morning. And you sort of held that general area this morning. It's right in this 15,150 area. That's your next demand. That's sort of a minor level, I would say. The major level that I'm keeping an eye out for is, if I delete this, I think the major levels below are Thursday's lows, which is 15,080. You can see it held here. It held here, right? You can see this 15,080 level on the Nasdaq, I think, is your next major demand. The real big level that I think we still could possibly retest is this FOMC low right here, this 15,000 area. That's really your major retest level. So if I delete that, you can sort of see this without any lines. I still think that it would be healthy for us to come back down and retest this low and then see what happens at this demand low down here. I still think that is a healthy move. And that is possibly the move that we could see if this market continues to sort of slide to the downside. We could still be wanting to retest this 15,000 demand level on the Nasdaq. So I am keeping that in mind, right? There are some minor levels to be aware of as we sort of, I deleted them now, so I'm going to have to remake them. There are some minor levels to be aware of, which is this little Thursday low, 15,080 right here, right there. That's minor. And then the other minor one that I'm watching is this little high at 15,150. So I have those on my charts, 15,150, 15,080. This is more of my major demand below at 15,000. And then right now as we speak, right, I am going to be, at least in the morning, right, this morning, here's my if-then statement this morning, right? I am not going to long this Nasdaq into this rejection and into this rejection area here this morning, around 15,250. So to look long today, I think you need to get a very clear hold over 250. If you don't see that, be careful on the upside, right? This could just be a rejection level here at this 250, rejecting Wednesday's highs right here. So be careful of this 15,250 on the Nasdaq. Be careful of that area as we push into it this morning. All right. QQQ, very similar. You guys can see right here that Wednesday high. That Wednesday high is right here at 367. Right. You see this little 367 level on the Qs? That is your level to watch this morning. 367 on the Qs. If you can get above that 367, then I think you could possibly see this little gap fill. That would bring us back in towards that 369 level. That 369 level, right, is the same level that we just talked about on the Nasdaq at 15,320. Right, the level that caused the downside that we talked about, this 15,320, that is the same thing as 369. Right, if I go to the 5-minute chart, look at the key move that happened on Friday. Right, you have a pre-market low at 369 on Friday that turned into an intraday rejection level. That is very key. That is what sort of caused this downside. So again, for real confidence to the upside, I still want to see us back over this 369, right? Because we could easily reject here. We could easily push, sort of fill this gap and then reject that 369. That's very possible. So watch that 369, right? That's that 15,320. And then in the immediate term, in the very short term this morning, watch this 367 level, right here. 367, Wednesday's highs. You have this little pre-market rejection here. Watch that 367. You do have this little gap, which QQQ, right? If the QQQ can hold above 367 today, you do have this little gap, right? Which could be what the Qs try to fill. It could try to try to fill this move back into 369. Very possible. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on both those possibilities. 367, 369, and then demand is down below at 365. Right? Why is that demand stepping up? It's right here. Right? Here's your previous high, your previous lows, right? And you can see that demand is stepping up right there. All right? So 365, 364.50, right? That's your demand this morning. You're pushing up towards that Wednesday high around that 367. Yeah, you have that 367.50. I don't mind putting a line there. Ray, 367.50 is sort of that gap fill, right? Or not the gap fill, but the beginning of the gap is around that 367.50. So you could keep a line there. Yeah, that's the QQQ. All right. ES. All right, so ES. This is still, this pullback does not look that nasty yet. So I am still considering whether this is just a little healthy pullback for another upside push, right? A break and maybe a retest of this little previous high here, of this previous hold here around this 44.30. Are we going to break this little downtrending channel, right, and try for another upside move? It's in my mind, right? I don't think this downside is that aggressive, right? And this downside came on very low volume in the Monday's futures market, right? The Monday market that isn't actually open, just the futures are open, right? It's a slow pullback. So I'm not that bearish on this pullback yet. There's still some levels below, and there's still the way that it pulled back, the way in which it pulled back is not that strong as of yet. So we'll have to see what today trades. That's going to be key to see where, how we trade today. But for the levels today on the SPY or on the ES, I'm going to be watching this 44.45, right? That's very key. It's this little hold here from Thursday. It's this hold here from Monday or Sunday after hours. It's this little rejection here, and then you can see that rejection that came in here intraday this or pre-market this morning. So 44.45 looks very key as a supply level here this morning, right? So be careful of that 44.45. The demand steps in at this 44.30, right? If you break below this 44.30, I think you come back into these highs here around this 44.20. And then the major retest level, the major demand, right, that I've talked about on the Nasdaq is down here at 4,400. This is your FOMC low down here, right? Down in this zone is your FOMC low. It's your Thursday low, right? And that could be, if we do have more downside, that could be where the market needs to come back to for a healthy move, right? Back to this 4,400. That is possible to retest this triple bottom. Maybe there's some demand that steps up there. But for now, for the immediate term, right, 15-minute chart, let's zoom in here. You guys can see previous low, rejection, rejection. So if we push into this 44.45, be careful of rejections here this morning. I would not want to be long into this level, right? If we do break and hold above it, then maybe you can look long into the 44.60, but I would not want to be long into this 44.45, right? I would not want to be long into this 44.45 this morning. If you do reject this level, watch for the demand that steps up at 44.30, right? Because if you do take a short up here and you marry that short, let's say you take a short at 44.45 today, it works out great. You get about 15 points on the ES. If you marry that short, right, and you think it's going to lead to like the next big downside, and then this happens, right, you're not going to be very happy with yourself. So it's about a 15-point range this morning, it looks like, between 44.30, 44.45. Watch this supply, watch this 44.30 demand, right, and then see if there's one of these sides break, right? If one of these sides break, you might get that continuation move today. 44.20 and then back into 44.60 are your two continuation moves. Why is 44.60 important, right? It's the same thing we talked about on the Nasdaq. Look at what the ES did. All right, you can see right here, the ES turned this pre-market low around 44.60 into rejections, and look at that rejection at 44.60 on Monday futures market, right? Look how clean that 44.60 rejection was. So if you do get back above the 45, I think you can trade into the 60. If you get below the 30, right, I think you can trade into the 20, right? That's sort of what I'm thinking today. These would be your continuation moves up in the 44.60 or 44.20. That's if you break the channel between 30 and 45, all right? So that's the ES. Here's the SPY. If I go to the SPY, you guys can see it's a little bit sloppier on the SPY. I don't love this level here. I'm sort of, ignoring that level, so to say. I'm sort of more interested just in the 439 high right here, right here, right here, and right here. And I'm interested in the, it's like this 437. It's not perfect. SPY is a little bit sloppier. It tends to be. It's like this 437 to 436.50 zone. So you can see all this here, this right here, right? All this here is sort of why I'm putting a zone there, because there's a lot of consolidation in this zone between 437 and 436.50. And you can see we are trying to maintain that general zone this morning. So I'm sort of just going to watch this channel, right? And just sort of trust in this channel between 439 and 437. It's about a 2-point range that I think you could possibly trade in today, right? Be careful of the demand here. Or I'm sorry, the supply up here at 439. Be careful of shorting into this 437, 436.50 demand down here, right? Because this could be another hold of this consolidation here. So on the SPY, 437, 436.50. On the upside, 439. Those would be the levels I'd watch. Dow Jones, where are we at on the Dow? Okay, so we're still sort of rejecting this supply high on the Dow. We're back underneath that, which is important. So you can see right here, we are back under this double top. Oops. We are back under this double top on the Dow. You can see right here, rejection, rejection. You got above it, but you could not hold, right? So if you're watching the Dow, be careful of this 34,600. You guys can see that double top here, and you are back below it. It was what rejected here on the 13th. We came back down off that, broke back above it, and now we're back below it. So be a little bit careful up here going long towards that 34,600 on the Dow, all right? Russell, that's actually an interesting little hold on the Russell here. If the Russell continues to hold this 1880 here, guys, this could be a channel low demand hold. That is actually something I would watch today, right? Look at that. Look what the Russell has done every time it pulls back to that 1880 area. This is also a previous breakout point, right? So the Russell, if I sort of zoom in here, I know these SMAs make it a little bit sloppy. But if you look at this Russell right here, right, look at this hold. Look at this 1880 level previously, right? 1880 rejection. Look at what we're doing this morning. That's actually a pretty interesting Russell hold. So if we do see some upside today, this could be a nice little Russell demand zone to go long off of. Back into the channel high towards that 1920. I'd watch that, right? I'd watch that. 1880 demand on Russell. All right? So that's the futures. This ES pullback does not look that concerning as of yet. Right? You can sort of see it's just a slow pullback. So today's going to be very interesting. Today's going to, right, you can see this could still very well be, right, if we sort of draw this trend. Wow, this trend goes back pretty far. If you draw this uptrending channel, right, look at that uptrending channel since middle of May. You've been in this 4-hour channel, and every pullback, right, that you get, some of these pullbacks, right, look at these pullbacks. Pullback, if you got too aggressive, right, it sucks. Pull back, if you got too aggressive on the short side, you got stuck. It sucks. If this little pullback here, Wednesday into Thursday, quickly got bought up again. So you can see, look at this. Push to the upside, pull back to the channel low. Push to the upside, pull back to the channel low. Push to the upside, pull back to the channel low. Push to the upside, pull back to the channel low. And that is exactly where we're sitting today. So am I that interested in the short side? I'm interested in it because I know how extended this market is, and I know that a break of this uptrend would be very juicy. Right? I know a lot of people are salivating over the idea of this channel break and a nice big downside move. But be careful being too early to that, because this is still in this 4-hour uptrending channel, and if we sort of hold that today, this could be opportunity. Right? This could just be another opportunity for another channel high test. So make sure you can look at this both ways. I can see it. I can see both sides here. All right. I could see the opportunity on downside because of how extended we are, and I know that I definitely want to catch that. Right. I definitely want to be a part of that myself. But you need to be able to look at the other side of this. Zoom out. Right. Look at this uptrending channel, and you have to be able to tell yourself and say, hey, is shorting at the bottom of this channel the best short, right? Is shorting at the top of the channel probably the better idea? Yeah, most likely, right? So just be careful of that, all right? That's what I'll say. Tesla, this thing's still holding up. This thing is still holding up. So here's Tesla 30-minute. I mean, as of right now this morning, this is making higher lows, right? We are creating higher lows on Tesla as we speak this morning. So it's right around this 256 to 257 level that is really holding up here this morning, right? You can see right here, 256, right? 256, all this consolidation here, and then look at that hold this morning at 256, 257, right? Look at that zone right there. You can see this morning we held it like a champ. We're pushing back to the upside. So the Tesla longer-term chart, absolutely no cracks, right? There are no cracks in this foundation on Tesla. Not yet, right? You can clearly see the uptrending move, right? Higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. There are no cracks in this foundation, right? The crack comes under 247, right? This is where that crack in the foundation starts to happen, under this level, under this low. Until then, I'm still looking for more upside here. You have to be. But, right, you have to be precise. You can't just, buy it and close your eyes. So 15-minute chart, we can see here on Tesla. Watch out for this 263.50 level today. All right, if you can get longs on a pullback, maybe back towards this 257, 256, that would really be where I'd more interested in long entries down here because of the demand that stepped up. Just be a little bit cautious of longing into this double top from Friday, right? You guys can see right here, this 263.50, 263.50. Be careful of that double top this morning, all right? That's really the only thing I'd watch. If you can get above that 263.50, you might try, right? If you can get a nice hold above that, you might try again for that 265 gap fill level. And that could be where, right, this hold right here could fuel this Tesla move for more if you can hold above that Friday double top. So that's really the main key, I'd say, this morning. Watch the Friday double top. That would be your main watch on Tesla right here. All right, it's very, very clear. Rejection, very clear double top at 263.50. I would not long into that. If you can hold above that, then I would look for that long. But until then, be careful of that 263.50. Be careful of that 256 demand. Right now, as we speak at least, it's just a channel, right? It's a channel between these two, this high and this low. All right, so trade it as a channel. Trade it as, trade what it is, which is a channel. If it breaks either side, then you can look for that continuation. Nvidia. Still no breaks in this foundation either, right? There really are no breaks here just yet. The key break here, in my opinion, on Nvidia is going to be this 420 level, right? 420 is really that key foundational break right here, right? If you break this 420, that's where I think this could sort of break down, right? But you can see as of right now, this is still very much holding. So if you do play downside, or if you're looking for downside on Nvidia, I'd want to see us under 420, turning that into a rejection for maybe that move in the 414, maybe that move into that 400 again. But until then, right, you have to be careful of this 420 demand because you can see it held once again. So it really, Nvidia, I didn't really want to go over Nvidia because I don't really like any trades here, but I did just because it's Nvidia and I know it's a major stock that a lot of people watch. It's just a channel. I really don't have anything else to share here. It's simply just a 433 to 420 channel. It's about a 13-point range. You look for shorts here. You look for longs here until it breaks. It's the same thing I talk about all the time. You either look for a break and hold above for upside, right? You look for a break and hold below for downside, or you look for shorts as we approach supply, and you look for longs as we approach demand. That's really the only 4 trades that you can take with any type of edge on this chart, right? If you just take a long here, then you're just longing into supply. If you just take a short here, you're just shorting in the middle of a channel and you're sort of hoping that it breaks down. It's not really any type of edge, right? In my opinion, the only 4 trades are a supply rejection of 433, a break and retest above that level, a demand hold of 420, or a break and retest below that level. These are the only 4 trades that I would take on Nvidia this week, right? So until I see one of those set up, I'm not going to touch Nvidia. Let's just see if we can, sort of get to one of these extremes, right? I'm waiting to see if Nvidia can reach one of these extremes. And if it does, right, then I'm going to look to see what the reaction is at that level. So that's what I'm doing on Nvidia. AMD. Interesting, right? Is this a long opportunity? Is this an opportunity on AMD? Is this pullback sort of making people uninterested, right? Is this a pullback that's scaring people off? Getting retail traders to not look long. And is this demand going to hold again, right? Because this demand is where the best long opportunities presented themselves in the past, right? These were your best long opportunities. This is where those longs really paid off, right? Does that happen again? We'll have to see. But this is definitely something I'm going to sort of hawk this week, right? I'm going to keep an eye on this thing. If I start to see any type of excitement off this, let's just call it the 118 to 116 zone, I'm going to give it this whole little 2-point range here. Anywhere between this, right around this 117.50 to 116. If there's anything I've learned about channels, if this channel stays true, right, this is where you want to be sitting long. This is where you want to start to formulate an idea. You're not going to formulate long ideas when it's up back at 126, right? That's where you get screwed because you're chasing a move. Do I love this idea with what I'm seeing on the market as of right now? Am I a little bit concerned that I'm, potentially longing into a market that could have a little pullback? Yeah. That's a little bit of a concern of mine. But this needs to be watched. That's basically what I'm saying here. This needs to be watched. Watch this 116, 118 zone on AMD. If this thing starts to sort of curl back to the upside, I would be watching this big time. If it does break 116, then I'm even interested in this short, right, into 108. Because this break of 116 would be pretty major for AMD. For downside. So either way, AMD should be a watch here every single day this week because there will be opportunity to either the demand bounce, right? Or there will be opportunity on the short side, right? There will be opportunity around this 116. So I would absolutely be watching AMD this week. It's coming into a very important zone. And when I see stocks approach important zones, right, that's when I want to be trading them. So watch AMD 116. Microsoft, oh man, could this be as clean as it is? Could this be just a sexy, sexy retest? Man, I don't know. It does look really good though, right? I almost am willing to take this just off how this looks and accept my risk. I mean, look at this potential break and retest here on Microsoft. If this holds this 338, this could be special, right? I don't know. I'm a little bit careful here because of the market again, right? If that market does pull back, Microsoft might pull back as well. That is also a all-time high rejection on Microsoft. So am I that interested in longing Microsoft back into all-time highs? Not really. That is another thing that's on my mind, right? Am I that interested in longing this back into all-time highs? Maybe. Right? If the market's real strong, maybe. But man, does this look interesting. So definitely a watch here. That's really all I'm going to say. It's pretty self-explanatory what I'm looking for here. If you've come to this live stream before, you know exactly what I'm looking for here. Yeah. Keep an eye on that 338 on Microsoft. Definitely a watch. The other stock that's doing the exact same thing is Meta. So Meta, you guys can see right here. Meta filled the gap, by the way. For all you guys that were, a couple months ago, we said, watch this gap fill. It did it, right? Meta has officially done it. So on the daily chart, you guys can see, if we zoom out, Meta has filled the gap, my friends. You can see right here, this was our gap, right? And it pretty much touched it on Friday. Nice move through the gap. Nice little upside continuation. Now, if I go to the hourly chart, right, you can see after we touched that gap fill, we had a pretty harsh reversal, right? A pretty harsh reversal there. That's a little gap close reversal. So be careful of longs back into the gap, right? That's a little concerning, right? Back up into that 287, 289 area. But this is interesting as well, right? Look at this. Previous high, previous high, previous high, previous high, previous high, previous high, breakout, retest, right? Does this hold? Does this 275, 276 turn into demand on Meta? That is another major watch for me this week. All right. Shopify, 64 hold. That is very interesting here. Hourly, let's go 4 hour. All right, look at this little hold of 64 this morning. Shopify got an upgrade as well, right? 64, 64. Look at how that double top is turning into a triple bottom, all right? Look at how that double top is turning into a triple bottom, right? So I understand what you guys are saying about the meta gap fill. You have to watch the recent lows on these gaps, right? You got to watch the recent lows. I understand the gap starts up here. You have to watch these recent lows, right? This is why Meta rejected here, right? The reason Meta rejected this 289, 288 area is because it is a recent low from the gap, right? It's the previous low. It's the closest low to that gap, right? So in my eyes, this is where the gap rejections will be, right here. This is where your gap rejections will be. This is what I've seen with gaps, at least myself, right? I understand the gap starts up here, but it's not going to just rally through this low right here, right? At least in my opinion. That's my opinion. That's why I have the gap fill here at 289, because that's the exact low of this little consolidation here. I don't think it's just going to rally through that 289 because of that low right there. That's sort of what I've experienced at least. Now, if the stock was moving lower into the gap, right, and then you gap like this, then yeah, that's your gap fill. But a stock was moving higher before the gap, and then it gaps down, something like this, I always would watch this high, or this low, right? You guys see the difference there? So, if a stock is moving higher and then gaps, I watch this retest here, right? If a stock is moving lower and then gaps, then I have that exact gap fill right here. Little drawing. Little Bob Ross. Bob Ross this morning. All right. What was I going to look at? Shop. We already looked at Shop. So 64, right? 64. Watch that hold. That's big. Les Resistance. And Snow. This is another, right? Look at how similar all these setups look. Snow, a little bit sloppier. Slow didn't quite hold up where I wanted it to. But I'm going to watch to see if it reclaims today. If Snow reclaims 185, I'm interested in upside. So previous highs at Snow, previous highs on Snow, and you can see it's a little bit under that this morning. I want to see if Snow gets back over 185. If it does, I think this can continue. So previous high, break. I'm looking for the retest hold. It is below it now, so I'm not that fond of it yet. You could see 185 rejections today, right, for more downside. That's very possible. If it can reclaim 185, then I would look for that hold back above, all right? So watch that Snow 185. All right, guys, let's get over the futures one more time before we head out. I hope you guys did enjoy the live stream so far. If you guys could, press that like button. We have 1,700 people, 500 likes. Terrible ratio. Yeah, you can start to see the ES is having a little bit of trouble here, right? Look at that little ES 4445. Be careful of that 4445 on the ES. Be careful up here at this 439 on the SPY. On the NQ, yeah, look at the rejection point that we pointed out. It's rejecting right now, right? You can see right here, 15,250 on the Nasdaq. This Wednesday high. Be careful of that. And on the QQQ, it's that same level, that 366.85, 367. All right, we talked about all these levels in the morning. If you guys missed it, go back to the beginning of this live stream where we go over the futures. We did all those exact levels. If you want to get these levels in a text format, you guys can scan that QR code, or you can go to the link down below. It says Get Technical Levels. If you guys want to trade live with me on a daily basis, as you guys know, down in the description, we trade live every single day in the chat. Hope you guys have been enjoying that. Nice few trades last week. Yeah. Be safe out there. It's the first day of the week, right? Take it easy. Don't start clicking buttons right as the market opens. Get a feel for the market. Get an idea of where this market wants to trade, right? Get a feel for the price action. Get a feel for the direction. How do you trade without collecting some data, right? Let's collect some data. Take a few breaths, 10, 15 minutes. Get an idea. All right, I'm guilty of this sometimes, so I do have to take my own advice sometimes. I do trade a little bit early at points. But when I see a setup that I like, I will go for it with some lighter size. It's something that it's something that I think a lot of traders don't get. They don't understand that they just have to accept risk when they enter a trade, right? If I enter a trade, I am accepting of the risk that I take. I know the risk that I'm putting on. I'm okay if I lose, right? This is something I think a lot of people need to get over that hump in trading, right? If you take a trade and you lose on it, it's okay, right? As long as you understood why you did it and the risk you're willing to take, right? So sometimes I do get in a little bit early on the mornings because I want to take a little stab at something. With the lighter size, I'll take a stab at something to see if it works. If it doesn't make me, it can't get you down for the rest of the day. If you want to take a little stab, if you like a little setup in the morning, take it. But please understand that, sometimes the mornings are very volatile. They're a little bit hard to trade. I would say it comes with experience. So just be careful. Let the market trade a few minutes. Let it shake out a little bit. And then we'll see where this market wants to go today. Watch those futures levels as always. Subscribe to the channel, press the like button, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.